Hi, beautiful people. Welcome back to the garden for another Sunday morning garden stroll. All right, first off, we have to say Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you beautiful moms out there. The world would not be the same without you. Hey, I hope you all have an absolutely spectacularly awesome day. It's been 3 weeks since we started our Sunday morning garden strolls through the garden, and so much has changed. Every week, something changes, and it's really awesome that I can share this with you. Sit back, relax, and let's enjoy our Sunday morning garden stroll. For this garden tour, we're going to start right here at one of the first beds that was planted when he just started the garden. The roses are of course new, but the bed is old as it has seen changes over the last 4 years. All right, the staples, as in all of my beds, you will see these staples are going to be the emerald green arborvitae. We have to have that all-season interest. Planted right here is Claire Austin. Right here, filled with buds, is the poet's wife. Another Claire Austin. You can see that she is loaded with buds, just getting ready to explode. It's going to be really awesome seeing her flower, as this will be her first true spring flush. Claire was planted here 2, if not 3 years, or third year in the garden. Right here is our knockout rose, filling out beautifully after a really drastic prune. And she even has her test flower. Have you noticed that with roses, I think maybe most plants do it, that they send out one flower as if to test the temperatures to see if it's okay to bloom, and then all of a sudden that one flower turns into a whole flush of roses. Right here we have our unknown. We're thinking that this may be Comte de Champagne. This was a rose that we received mislabeled from David Austin last season. So this is her second or first true spring in the ground. She was planted spring of last year. Filled with buds and is doing very well. Looking forward to see her bloom. I'll take a walk right here. Now on the outside bed, we have a new addition to the garden, just planted yesterday. These berry roses are from Grace Rose Farms. And this is Rose Bolero. 2 beautiful specimens, I believe, of a berry rose. Looking forward to see how they grow. I did a lot of work with this bed on planting. I made sure to change the soil. We added organic topsoil mix. So hopefully they're going to settle in and be very happy in the space. All right, right here we have Tranquility. Now I experienced something new in the garden this year. Tranquility was debudded. Something came and ate all the buds off of my, no, I keep saying Tranquility. It's actually Twilight Zone. Came and ate all the buds off of Twilight Zone. It looks like they left me one, so I will have one flower. All right, but everything that was in reach, all the buds are gone. Luckily, she is pushing up new growth, so we will have flowers, maybe just a little later in the season. Okay. Looks like I've got some bug damage starting out here. We gotta come on in and get some dormant oil spray. This beautiful rose right here is Charles Darwin, a spectacular, spectacular bloomer, reliable rose from David Austin Roses. Blooms has always given us a beautiful spring flush of roses. As you can see, he is covered in buds, right? Getting ready to put on a magnificent show. The fragrance on this rose is out of this world. He smells absolutely fantastic, a great fragrance. In terms of the disease resistance on Charles, he is susceptible to black spot. He does not like to be stressed, so he needs to be well watered. And if we have an excessively rainy summer or spring, we may see bits of black spot on Charles. But he is worth the effort because he does reward you with absolutely beautiful flowers, as you can tell by these beautiful buds. Pull back so you can see him in all of his splendor. Alright, so this is Charles Darwin. Okay. Right here we have a hybrid tea. This is Enchanted Peace. This is Enchanted Peace, second season in the garden. This little rose was pruned back to about 12 inches from the ground and pushes up all of this growth, right? All of this growth before she's going to flower for us. I must admit that I enjoy her foliage. The new growth always comes up with a slight burnt burgundy color. I think it adds so much interest to the garden. It really helps the beds to pop. And look, getting ready to push out her buds. All right, the final rose on the outside garden is going to be Gabriel. This is Gabriel Oak, another David Austin rose that refuses to put on any height for me. He's standing at about 2.5 feet tall, if that much, right now. And he has never gotten any taller. All right. But he blooms so beautifully, a beautiful flush of roses here in the spring. A very disease-resistant rose. I've not tackled black spots on this particular, on this plant. And he is a pleasure to have in the garden. In terms of his fragrance, let's see. I've never smelled Gabriel. Let's check. Let's see here. I'm not picking up on a fragrance from Gabriel. Now it is chilly this morning, so it could be that he does have a fragrance. I'm just not picking up on it at the moment. So I will come out and give him a sniff again a little later in the season, yeah? A little later in the day when it has warmed up a bit. Alright. And do you remember on our first garden stroll, I showed you this little rose. This is Florentina, who has decided that she must push her growth to the outside of the fence, which is fine. Look at her buds. Look at how huge. She is ready and putting on so much new growth that I cannot be disappointed. And this is an overhead shot of the garden. I wish I had better camera skills so that I could show you what the garden looks like in its entirety. All right, but hopefully the little snapshots of each section works. Hopefully. All right, let's take a quick look inside because as you can see, we've got a beautiful pink rose there. That rose is a Stacia Vi. Let's go on in. Okay, heading into the garden. I'm going to put up a disclaimer here. It is still a work in progress. I've got some planting to do. So you're going to see a few pots scattered here and there. You'll also see a few empty pots that need to be planted up. But we have our No Container Left Behind challenge this season, where I am challenging myself to plant something in every container. Right? Be it an annual, be it fern, something's got to go in there, right? All right, starting off the inside bed, and I'll give you a big sweep of it so that you can see what is to come, minus the mess, is right here we have Thomas A. Becket growing in, has buds, waiting for his flowers. This particular rose is has very slender canes and he has very huge blooms. So his blooms tend to nod a bit, a lot of a bit. His fragrance is outstanding, absolutely divine. And he's definitely worth the grow. The one that we got in this season, the replacement, is we had ordered 3, but 1 had died. The replacement I have put in a container, so that hopefully we will be able to enjoy more of his blooms. I may have gotten that part wrong. I was hoping that Thomas would give us the height, and then with his nodding blooms I would have been okay. But right now he is still a really short fellow on the ground. Right, so getting to enjoy his blooms does require a bit of bending. One has to get on their knees, but it is worth it for the fragrance. Gorgeous rose. All right, this little angel right here is Princess Alexandra of Kent, and she is getting ready. Ooh, she's getting ready to give us a show. Something is going on in the center of my roses. I know we had a windstorm that broke 1 or 2 buds, but something else is going on in that center that I have to figure out. As I do see a big hole where buds should be. Right, that is Princess Alexandra of Kent. Beside her we have Carden Mill. This is Carden Mill's second, 1, 2, this is Carden Mill's 3rd spring. Okay. And she is going to give us a beautiful flush of roses, as you can tell. And she even opened her testers. I call them testers. Roses, they normally push up 1 or 2 flowers before the flush begins. I call those 1 or 2 flowers their testers. They're like, let's see if it's warm enough for us to flower. Beautiful rose. All right, a messy workstation, forgive me. Right here, the new addition to the garden. It is not a rose, but I'm as excited about it as I would be any rose. This is Edge of Night Hibiscus from Proven Winners. I'm so excited that it's here, as it's going to help to give the garden seasonal interest. As with the roses, I find that I get a beautiful spring flush. After my spring, then we have the quiet period in the summer. I need something to fill that space in the summer, and that's where the hibiscus are going to come in. I think they're going to bloom beautifully after or with the hydrangeas and rose of Sharons. So we should be able to keep joy and energy in the garden. This right here is a very thorny rose. The thorns are so fine that even my best rose gloves cannot tackle this one. This is Comte de Chambord. Last year we got no spring blooms because his buds were prone to balling, and with the spring rains he was continually wet, constantly wet, and so we did not enjoy any spring flowers whatsoever. I did get a bloom from him at the end of the season last year, and he was so magnificently fragrant. He smelled like Gertrude Jekyll. Yeah, he smelled like Gertrude Jekyll. Gorgeous rose. Fingers crossed that we will see flowers this spring, right? Can you imagine if he's able to open all of these buds? Let me pull back so you can see him. There's a part of me that says, please don't rain, don't rain. I know my garden needs the rain, but I'm saying please don't rain because I want to see this guy open. I wanted to enjoy these flowers. Look how many buds. Look at how many buds. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to take you up. Right here is Eden. These extremely huge buds are those of Eden. Or climbing rose right now only has 2 canes. All right. Hoping that she will push out some more growth for us this season. This is her 3rd spring as well in the garden, and we are looking forward to an awesome flush of roses from her. Look at this rose, Darcy Bustle. Darcy Bustle is already in bloom and going strong. Look at her. Darcy's saying, I'm not waiting on the rest of you. I am pushing out my beautiful flowers because I want to be able to say Happy Mother's Day to all of you absolutely gorgeous gardeners out there. Look at this. The first year in the garden, Darcy had black spot. The second season, is this her second spring, guys? Her second going on 3rd spring. And look at her. A healthy start to the spring, which is beautiful. Treating us to absolutely gorgeous blooms. Okay. That is Darcy Bustle. She has started her flush with more to come. The only thing missing from this rose is a fragrance. If Darcy were fragrant, wow, that would be it. Another planting of the Hibiscus, Edge of Night. Alright. A Double Delight rose. We've had a lot of rain this spring, so I'm seeing black spot on the very bottom of the very lower leaves of some of the roses, like this one. The Poet's Wife has always had an issue in the garden with black spots. So we've got to pull our neem oil out, and we definitely have to remove those leaves. Okay. And the rose that started us off this morning is Stacia Vi. Let me see if I can block the sun. She has started. She is getting ready, and she is so beautiful. She is going to treat us to a beautiful flush of roses as always. Awesome disease resistance on this one. Oh, spectacular fragrance that fills the garden. Literally fills the garden. A gorgeous rose. Gorgeous. Okay. Not particularly good on the repeat blooms for me. And I think that's all gardener error, to be honest with you. But a fantastic rose. She gives me an awesome spring flush. And if tended to well, we will enjoy an awesome fall flush of roses. Okay. Julia Child is growing up. Now, Julia Child in my garden suffers from black spots. Okay. You can see it here starting on the lower leaves again. And again, that is because of all the moisture that we've had. We've had lots and lots and lots of rain. And behind Julia and the Serendipity Allium is Florentina. I don't know if you remember 3 weeks ago when I showed you that little cane that was coming up. Let's see if I can work my way around here. I really planned this bed wrong because there's no entry point. The only way I can get in is to step over some of my roses, right? Not the smartest of things that I've ever done. But I just wanted to show you this cane that's now standing. How tall are you, Mommy? Almost as tall, maybe about 3 feet tall, if that much. This little cane is the one that I showed you 3 weeks ago. That was on the ground, and now it is as tall as the plant itself and growing even taller. Isn't that beautiful? A really healthy, vigorous rose. Absolutely gorgeous. The blooms on this rose last for at least, how long was it that she lasted last year? I don't remember. I know it's in excess of a week, if not more, that the blooms sat on the rose. Beautiful, beautiful red rose. Absolutely gorgeous. As soon as this one is in bloom, I will take you back here. All right, let me see if I can work my way out of the bed. Since we're on this side, Salis Marner has sent up his little tester. First bloom for the season. And Salis has a lot more to come. Look at that. This rose is always so deceptive. He starts really small and almost like he's struggling, and after that spring prune, and it always makes me worry about him. And then he does this, he pushes up a lot of growth, and he becomes this absolutely, I'm so sorry stepping out of the bed, this absolutely gorgeous specimen of a rose, Salis Marner. Okay. And look, here's one more bloom on this side. All right. Now, as tempting as it is to take you through the entire garden, I promise I'm not going to do that to you. I would like to show you just one more section because this rose is in basically full bloom right now, and I'd love for you to see her. Come on. And here we are. This rose is Margaret Marrow. Wow. Margaret Marrow suffers from black spot. Definitely not on the highest list in terms of disease resistance. But Margaret is beautiful in terms of a white rose. Right? Growing into the space. This is the second spring in the spot. This was an heirloom rose purchase, transplanted. How many times did we move Margaret? Twice, I believe. Right? So finally having a chance to settle into a space. And I'm hoping that she is going to own this space and continue to grow for us, so that hopefully in another season or two, we'll have an absolutely beautiful rose, right? I do like the peacefulness of this section. Let me pull back so you can see it. Before it seemed quite empty, but now with the tall structures of the evergreen on either side, and the filling out of the serendipity alliums in the forefront, I'm starting to like this section as it feels peaceful. It feels quietly peaceful. Okay, let me show you one more thing that we did in here. Do you remember the foxgloves that we started from seed? I have about 7 of them scattered in this bed. We stepped on that one when we were mulching. Actually had it covered, poor baby. All right. There they are on the ground, and they are growing in nicely. The sad thing is, I made the classic seed starting mistake, right? I labeled my seedlings perfectly before, when they were in their seed starting cells, and then it was time to pot them up a bit, and so I did the potting up, but guess what? When I potted these guys up, that's where I misplaced the labels. And so I have no idea who we're looking at right now. We are, well, hopefully once they bloom, I'll be able to identify them for you. But I know we did the variety that's going to be blooming in about 4 months. So we should have blooms here later in the season. Look at all of the black spot on Margaret. Yeah, we're definitely going to be pulling out that neem oil. But I really do like this section. Yep. All right. And that will be our little garden tour this morning. Again, I'm so tempted to walk you through the entire garden. The Sophie's rose is blooming, has started. Oh man, do you have another minute? Take 1 minute with me. Let me show you Sophie. She's worth it, I promise. We have started working on mulching. So this is the Rose Island with a little bit of sheet mulching started. We've got mulch down, still an incomplete bed, but absolutely gorgeous because of this rose. This is the Sophie's rose. Oh my gosh. Oh my. My camera does not do her any justice whatsoever. Absolutely gorgeous rose. Look at that. Look at all the flowers to come. Oh. She is going to be gorgeous. This is her first spring, planted last spring. So first official spring in the garden, and she's going to give us a first flush of roses. Planted bare root last year, another David Austin rose. Absolutely gorgeous. The only thing missing from Sophie is fragrance. Sophie does not have a fragrance, but she is gorgeous. All right. All right, I guess this is the best place to, this is as good a place as any to end it, right? So we'll go ahead and we'll end our third. This is our third week of garden strolls, right? So much is changing. The garden is coming into its full flush. And hopefully we will be enjoying a full flush of roses here soon. All right, guys, happy Mother's Day again, and thank you all for joining me. Thank you all for having joined me in the garden for another absolutely beautiful day, an awesome garden stroll. And look at this gigantic allium. She is not my favorite. That is the universe allium, and that is my favorite allium. I'm going to put my hand there so you can understand how absolutely huge this allium is. Look at that. Look at that. The allium is huge. Look at that. Gorgeous, right? She has become my favorite out of all that we've planted this year. We're definitely going to add more of her to the garden. All right, beautiful people. Thanks so much for watching. As always, you are awesome. And I'll see you in the garden. Bye.